Wallace Jr. My home is here in Williamsburg County. I'm a native of Kingstree. I attended school here and graduated from Thomason High School. And being the oldest in my family of the children, there were 7 of us, I was the first one to finish high school. And after high school, my mother always said that, well, my son is going to go to college. Well, we didn't have too many of us going to college during that time. There were no federal grants and other things like that. So I decided that I would go to New York and work for a year and then try to save up some money to get into college, which I did. Make a long story short, after that year was up, I was able to save enough to get to Allen University and enrolled in that school. And so each year, each summer I would go back to Brooklyn, New York, and work during the summer and save the money that I could save so that I can go to college the next year. And so I did that for 4 years, and I was able to graduate from Allen University with a BA degree. As soon as I was graduated from that school, I was drafted into the military. And I spent 2 years in active military service, serving as a military police officer in a good many of the foreign countries and in places like Chicago and Wisconsin and New Jersey. Anyway, a great deal of experience there by the time I was 22 and 23 years old. So after honoring the time that I served on active duty in the military, I was honorably discharged from that portion of it and came back home, and I was already certified as a teacher, and so I started working with the school system in Williamsburg County. As a result of that, to make a long story short, I taught for 12 years at Anderson School and eventually was elected the principal. And I served in that capacity for 10 years, after which I ran for the Board of Education in Williamsburg County. I was the first principal to come out of the office and serve as chairman of the Board of Education for Williamsburg County Schools. So we've had a very productive life in that respect. And there are many things in between those things, but I'm just mentioning some of the main ones. My wife and I are the proud parents of 7 sons and 3 daughters, and they all came through the school system, and mostly while I was in the school system. And they've done well, and we are so proud of them. We've tried to help so many people here in Williamsburg County because God has blessed me to the extent that He gave me the ability and the patience to deal with many people in many different capacities, serving them as a police officer, as a principal of school, as a basketball coach, as a deacon in Solomon Baptist Church, and coming from a home myself where my parents were religious and believed in God, and we were brought up in the church. And we've just been a blessed family, and I think that God has blessed us to this degree because we were always willing to help and had no form of envy or jealousy for someone else doing well. And those are basic things that we must always keep in our minds. Let's make sure that we try to help people rather than suppress them. So as a result of that, I was successful in the educational system, and my children were successful in that. And I can remember back during the time that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to Williamsburg County, I was a police officer at that time. But I remember him coming here because of our predicament, because we were one of the poorest counties. And so I've always said that maybe if there was some way politically that I could help this county, I would do that. And so I've offered my service in that capacity. I've supported people who I felt meant good and that would help Williamsburg County. So now I've been able to acquire some housings that we allow people to rent, at least to have some place to live in many cases. Businesses that I've operated, for example, my office next door is being used by a young man who wants to get started in the community. The fish market, which is the next place up there, is being also used, being rented out, or leased out to a family. That family is doing well as far as serving the people in Williamsburg County. We try to benefit our church and support our pastor's membership. We still have a big obligation here because church is not only about shouting on Sunday. It's about helping our people so that they'll be able to make it in this world, and especially in this county. We have too many of our young boys and girls who look forward to being kicked out of school for a few days or for a week or something. We as parents have to do something to help our children. And when I first started in the school system, I decided that I would go into law enforcement. My heart has always been into that, and it happened at an early age. I remember one of my little friends and I guess we were in about 6th or 7th grade, and we were playing there around at his house, and the truck accidentally backed over him, and I stood there and I saw him die. And I was there when the law officers arrived. I'll never forget when those officers came and that chief of police got out of the car and he looked at this little boy lying on his stomach in the street. A lot of people around, the parents are crying. And I remember this police officer took his foot and rolled that little black boy over, and he said, "This nigger is dead." It stuck in my mind forever. I would never forget that as long as I live. At that time, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a police officer. So serving as a judge has meant a great deal to me, and also as